Schloss.
Oh,
And
cool.
we
Okay.
are live.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Mark Luckenbaugh with Local Client Playbook. I'm here with Matt Stack and David Schloss, and we want to talk about some social media advertising today, a little bit of retargeting. Thanks a lot for jumping on with us, man. How are you?
No problem. I'm doing great. Just coming off an event where I've been speaking about the topic we're about to speak about today, and just fired up and ready to get things moving.
Awesome stuff, man. Really appreciate it. I like social media. You can get such cheap leads, targeted leads, if you know what you're doing. I love social media leads, and I'm excited to hear a lot about it too, man. So how'd you get started with the digital marketing and then social media specifically? What drew you to like the social media action?
Well, I started out in digital marketing in 2007. Specifically, I started out with SEO and video marketing,
Okay.
and after a couple of years, I just got bored with it, and I was looking for a new outlet, not because I just wanted to do it. It was more out of necessity. Uh, in my area, I live in the Fort Lauderdale, Miami area. It's a cutthroat business to be in SEO and video. It's like everyone and their mom is doing the same thing. And I just decided to transition over into paid ads. At first, it was just traditional PPC with AdWords and mainly AdWords and Bing. And then I just found the Facebook ad network, and that's where it all began. It was basically the open door into the same form of advertising as AdWords and Bing, but it involved a lot more of a social element, more of an engaging element, and that's what seemed to really draw me in. And I don't know, it just seemed to click a lot quicker for me than the other networks that I was testing in the beginning. I would say I became more of a paid traffic guy around late 2012, early 2013.
Okay, very cool.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome stuff. So, what's your? I know we were just talking before we went live, and you said you've generated leads from just about any social media platform, which is awesome because a lot of people are just on one. Like, hey, we can do Facebook ads, but what type of businesses have you generated leads from for, or leads for like shit. Like what type of like for instance, I just said about advertising SEO on Pinterest
Mm-hmm.
before we went live, and you laughed about that. So I'm imagining you've had an experience or did some testing, and just dive into that a little bit if you don't mind. Just what's the potential with some of these networks for advertising our business?
Sure. So I'll do a couple things. I'll tell you the networks that I've bought ads from. I'll
Okay.
tell you where I've done the most research in terms of like niches that I've gone after, and then I'll use an example of like how you can advertise, let's say, your SEO services on these platforms. So first off, I've bought ads on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Reddit, StumbleUpon, and Pinterest. I think I mentioned that, but yeah, also Pinterest. So I don't know, that's 8 to 9 different networks, all social, and Facebook is my primary driver. YouTube is secondary, and then the rest are sort of just like falling into place right now. And I would say the niches that I have targeted the most: real estate, all forms of it, from buying and selling homes to investors to coaches. I've helped business coaches both in specific niches and just general business. I've worked with personal development coaches, a lot of coaches. I don't know why they seem to come to me, but I get a lot of coaches.
Mhm.
Uh, I've worked with tons of internet marketers. I've probably run ads for some of the people you guys know about. And I mean, recently I've had people from the solo ad industry. I've also had, let me just think here. I've had some local businesses like dentists and surgeons and things of that nature. I mean, it's all over the board. Right now, 90% of my clientele are coaches in all sorts of industries.
Wow.
Just a lot of coaches,
That's
and
pretty.
these are legit coaches too. So, yeah.
They're not selling snake oil.
No, they actually have results. Let me just
Good
put it that
stuff,
way.
man. Good
Yeah.
stuff, man. That's incredible. So, maybe expand on some of the. Do you drive people straight to like a landing page? Have you found it starting to work better driving them to content than retargeting them, or, different types of, content plans rather than sending them straight to like an opt-in? Or what's your experience with that?
So in a way, that's sort of a loaded question because for each niche, it's different, right? So with IM, you expect to be sent to a lander all the time. And when you're sent to one, we know it's a landing page where you're trying to take our email and sell us something later.
Yeah.
So you have to warm up internet marketers or SEOs or all those types of individuals a little more. You have to nurture them more than, let's say, someone looking to buy or sell a house.
Yeah.
Right? So for someone looking to buy or sell a house or maybe become a lead for a coach or something like that that's outside of the advertising and marketing space, you don't have to always send them the content. Whereas if you're in our space, you want to send them to something like a piece of content, whether it's a guide, an infographic, something engaging, because they need to build trust with you before they give you their email.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And we'll get more into retargeting in a minute, but you send them to that content, you have a pixel on the page, and you also have a pixel on the following page that you want them to click through to, right? Mm-hmm. So that way you're sort of pre-qualifying those retargeting pixels and seeing which ones you really want to retarget back to your landing page versus retargeting everyone to your landing page.
Okay.
It's like an extra step, right?
Yeah.
Now I would say with things like real estate or personal development, you send them strictly to a landing page or a squeeze page to get their email. They just want whatever the hell you're giving away.
Mm-hmm.
They don't necessarily want content. They want whatever comes after. So you can put up just your typical Clickfunnels or lead page or optimized press page, and they're cool with it. They're totally cool with it, as long as it's something they want. So yeah, I mean it's a mix and match. But in most cases, you could just put up the squeeze and send people to it, and you're fine. So yeah.
Good stuff, man. What platform do you like the best besides Facebook?
YouTube.
YouTube?
YouTube. If you're not creating video for platforms like Facebook and YouTube, you're missing out on tons of cheap traffic, but also pre-qualified traffic. Mm-hmm. My belief is if you're watching a video all the way through, you're truly engaged with whatever it is I'm trying to give to you.
Yeah.
And so even if my click-through rate is insanely low because of a video, those opt-ins are going to be more pre-qualified than me getting 90-cent leads from Facebook, but only 5% of them open my emails. So okay. I'd rather take people who've watched the video all the way through, clicked through to my site, and then opted in than just someone coming from a banner and then opting in. It's just more of like a pre-qualifier. And if I had to choose a third one lately, it would be Twitter, because Twitter has opened up a lot of their ad platform to be very similar to both YouTube and Facebook. They have video view campaigns, they have engagement campaigns, and they were actually first to market with these subscribe campaigns where you can opt in people within the platform and never take them away from the site.
Yeah, very cool.
They were the first ones, and Facebook has their own rollout of something like that similar in the next couple weeks. So, yeah, I mean, those are my top three right now, for sure.
Okay. I want to see, can we go into some of the retargeting stuff? I'm actually, brand new to that, and I have, no clue about that, so let's dive into that.
Sure. So, just the basics of retargeting, right? Someone comes to your site and you have a pixel somewhere in the header or in the footer, and it's usually from somewhere like Facebook. It could be from networks like Google Remarketing or Perfect Audience or AdRoll or Site Scout or any platforms. Twitter has their own custom audience pixel too, and so does YouTube, right? So this pixel is basically tracking at what step this individual has taken through your funnel. Right, so let's just say they land on the front end, prospect lands, and they don't necessarily want your item right now. Well, because they've landed on a page with that pixel, you could set up a banner or video ad and then send them a different form of messaging that they haven't already seen. And because of that, you can send them back to the same page, or you could send them to a different page with a different message in hopes that they eventually sign up for your funnel, and then you just take them through each step afterwards. Now, the cool thing about retargeting is you can put it in every single step. So if someone lands on step 1 and then they decide to go to step 2, you can exclude them from ever seeing step 1 again.
Awesome.
and just keep taking them through until they get to the cart. And then once they
Yeah.
get to the cart, hey, why'd you forget to buy? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Or here's a coupon if you didn't make a decision already. So
Hmm.
there's a lot of ways you could spin retargeting and turn it into a extremely profitable venture for you. My clients typically see a 30% extra boost in revenue because of retargeting.
Okay. How often are you hitting them with ads then with the retargeting?
Well, it depends on how big the audience is. So if the audience is really small, let's say a couple hundred people, the frequency of how often they see the ad can be as low as like 5 times a day to upwards of 20, 30 times a day. Now,
Okay.
if they're seeing ads that frequently, you have to constantly rotate your ads because
Yeah.
otherwise they're seeing the same ad 20 times and they're going to get blind to it after no more than 2 or 3 days.
Hmm.
Now, if you're rotating, let's say they see it on average 20 times a day, and your dashboard in any network will tell you that you can always have, let's say, 5 ads just constantly rotating, and they'll see each
Yeah.
one 3 or 4 times a day.
Okay.
You just keep doing that, and then you see the click-through rates, and just typical ad, uh, you know, basic ways of optimizing. You see which ones are getting the clicks, you turn off the ones that are not, and you just keep going until it eventually leads to a conversion.
What kind of time frame are you dealing with that? Like, how long
Uh,
does it take of running these ads usually? Or that probably varies a lot by industry, but
Yeah, so with internet marketing, you can get, well, let's say you have a campaign running for 2 to 3 days, right? So you want the pixel to sort of warm up, get some audience to it. So let's say the audience becomes 1,000 people, right? I'll run that retargeting campaign for a week, 3 weeks. I mean, if the campaign is a week-long campaign, I turn on retargeting by day 3 or 4, right? So there'll
okay.
only be a 3-day period where I'm just hammering the retargeting list. And
Yeah.
then if it's a long-term campaign, sort of like my coaches who just constantly want leads coming in, what I'll do is I'll just run each campaign 1 week at a time and constantly rotate ads. So it'll be
Yeah.
3 ads week number 1. Okay, 2 ads didn't work. I'll change those 2 and keep the winner. And I'll just keep doing it every single week. So that way it
Hmm.
keeps it fresh in people's minds. On
Yeah.
Facebook, I have had cases where one retargeting ad just exploded the business, and I would not touch it. So,
Hmm.
one of my clients has one retargeting ad that we haven't touched in over 6 months.
Oh, wow.
So it's really just like you said, it varies, and that's what I see all the time. And I know that's sort of a general answer, but it's the truth. With paid ads, there's no guarantee as to how long something can run and how long it shouldn't. It's sort of just based on the result you get from it.
Hmm. What's your favorite platform to use to do this retargeting?
So if you're doing more of like a native approach, like you have to use one platform, Facebook, right? Just because I can get the best of both worlds right out the gate, right? I can get the front end ads and I can get the retargeting. If I'm
Yeah.
just focusing on retargeting only and also doing website retargeting or social network retargeting, Perfect Audience is pretty good, but I
Hmm.
also like AdRoll. AdRoll has a lot less compliance information that you have to deal with, whereas
Yeah.
with Perfect Audience, they're very strict.
Hmm.
And I've seen often where some of the pages that I followed all their guidelines still get rejected. Still.
Ah.
And it's a big
Okay.
pain. So I have to, that's why I'm always on 3 or 4 different networks at one time.
Hmm.
Because you never know which one's going to take your stuff. So
Yeah.
it's just having it prepared.
Okay. What would you say would be the easiest way for someone brand new to get started? Like, let's say they had like a roofer client or a dentist client.
Right. So when I first started offering retargeting, it was to one of my local clients. I was doing the transition. I was getting rid of a lot of my local clients, and one of them just gave me the opportunity to keep working with him and focus on paid ads. But what I knew about him was that his site was getting 3 to 4 thousand visits organically every month.
Yeah.
So I never had to buy traffic because there was always traffic coming in. All I had to do was just siphon the existing traffic into retargeting campaigns.
Hmm.
So there was no cost of getting more traffic. It was just the cost of bringing them back.
Yeah.
So if you have local clients already getting good traffic, and it has to be a couple thousand because not every hit is registered on the pixel,
Hmm.
let's just say 2,000, right, as a baseline. So if
Okay.
they're getting 2,000 hits a month, all you have to do is charge for your time, right? Let's just say minimum $500 a month so you can cover some banner designs and whatnot, minimum. And then you sign up for a network like Perfect Audience or Adderall, and you start setting up campaigns for each service or each product or whatever it may be. And then just track conversions. It's actually quite simple. What's not is the tracking of everything. It's simple to set up. So Perfect Audience has great support and help tools in order to like go through A to Z as to how to set up your first campaign, and so does Adderall. But if you're doing something like, I'm setting up Perfect Audience campaigns on website retargeting and Facebook and Twitter all at the same time, and you don't know how to do conversion tracking, then it could become a huge pain in the butt.
Yeah.
So if you're just looking to get started and only do one thing, you can offer website retargeting to all of your clients for, I would say, more along the lines of like $750 to $1,000 a month using their existing traffic, and then do website retargeting campaigns. And I know for a fact it would bring more business to your clients.
What do you base that pricing on? Like, where do you get the numbers for to charge a client that? I'm just curious about that.
Well, I have my own formula. It's sort of just like, look, my time is very valuable, and I have a lot of other clients. It's like, look, it becomes a bidding war at some point with yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So what I realized is my capacity is I by myself can handle 10 to 15 clients a day by myself. For what I do. The average person probably can't. I'm sort of like I'm a machine sometimes, and I can handle that many people. But let's just say the average person can only handle 5 a day, and you want to give these 5 clients the best return on investment every month. Well, your time might be worth $2,000 a month for each person.
Yeah.
Only because you're putting all your effort into them. For me, I have 4 virtual employees. I got myself, and I have systems in place, so I could charge a little less and take on more people. But at the same time, I'm not doing 95% of the work.
Yeah.
Right?
That makes sense.
So if you're a solopreneur, you're doing everything yourself, and you do have the ability to put your all into a project, but if you're new, you could still charge $750 to $1,000 because your time is valuable, and you can make them known like, hey, I only take 5 clients a month.
Yeah.
So my time is at least worth $1,000. That's how I price it.
Very cool. What other offerings do you offer to your clients?
Besides social ads?
Yeah.
I only offer social ads and retargeting.
Okay.
I consult. If you want to look at another offer, I would say more like coaching consulting. I have clients that come to me. They're like, I want you to run all my stuff. And then 3-4 weeks later, by the way, I want to learn everything. It's, okay. Well, that's a different service. Learning and doing is 2 different things.
Yeah.
So I would say my other offering is the coaching consulting side. And retargeting comes separate from the social ads. It's another component that requires a lot of attention. So I have 3 things. You pick a social network, you pick a retargeting network, and do you or do you not want my coaching? And that's it. And then if they say yes or no to each thing, I sort of come up with the pricing for all of it based on your ad budget, and here you go. This is how much it would cost. I don't want to spread myself too thin like I did when I had an SEO company. It was like, oh, I do SEO, I do content writing, I do this, and I do this, and I do this. Like, no. This is what I got. Pick something, and let's go. That's it.
Okay, very cool. Are you using any landing page software or anything like that for these campaigns? What would you recommend for that?
Yeah, so I started using lead pages first. Like, they were the first ones that I used. A couple of years ago when they first came out, I got a membership immediately. I'm actually grandfathered in. Like, I'm still paying the old price.
Oh, cool.
So I would use lead pages because now there's a monthly program. It's actually quite cheap. I think the mid-tier is like $67 a month, but it gives you everything that you need. And that's a very easy platform to use. But if you're building out like in-depth sales funnels, lead pages can be a pain in the butt. So you can go to Clickfunnels. Now, I'll be honest, Clickfunnels is buggy. Like, there are days where it works phenomenal, and then there's days where it works like shit. And they're aware of this, and there's plenty of other people who vocalized it, but I mean those are the primary two. Now, if you want something custom, which a lot of my clients do, we go to optimized price.
Okay.
Because you could sort of play around with every element and then turn it into a funnel.
Yeah.
But I would start out with Clickfunnels or lead pages.
We're using Clickfunnels right now in our coaching program, and it is pretty buggy at times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was using it for a completely different funnel, and all of our retargeting got knocked out of it. Like, we put all the retargeting in, and we logged back in. We're like, hey, why isn't our audience growing? And every retargeting pixel was removed. And the crazy thing is we actually had it on video putting the retargeting in, because we did it, in conjunction with some training, like getting funnels set up.
Yep.
So it's like, we went back, one guy in-house went back and looked to make sure it wasn't like an error on his part. He's like, look, man, he's like, I put that shit in and it's gone now.
Yeah, and there's been plenty of cases. It's funny you mentioned that. This morning I was setting up a YouTube retargeting pixel with one of my good friends. We set it up. 20 minutes later, we went back to add the Facebook pixel, and the YouTube pixel was gone. Wow. So we've seen, I mean, your example is nothing new. It happens a lot. And I keep reverting back to lead pages. But like I said, it's like you can't build out funnels as fast in lead pages as you can in ClickFunnels. But my pixels don't disappear in lead pages.
Right.
So, it's like a catch-22. It's like, would you rather deal with building something out longer, or would you rather deal with a shorter time frame and then you got a lot of other question marks? So, yeah.
Very cool. How do you go about designing your funnels?
All right, so here's the thing. With some of my clients, they don't care what anything looks like. You slap a logo on there and let the copy and the offer do its thing.
Right.
And then you have some clients who are, I want everything to look fantastic, and they don't give a shit about the offer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a lot of clients who care about both, which is very shocking. We do our best to make everything look great, but the tools are limiting to what you can do, right? And that's why I would mention, if you want to go custom, you go to optimized price. Now, funny thing is about my company, I do ads. I work with social. I call them social funnels as much as they are sales funnels. But the thing is, I don't design funnels. That's not my job. I'm an advertiser.
Yeah.
So I have a buddy of mine that I go to for all my custom type of funnels that need to be built, and then it's like, hey, however pretty you want it to be, now I can make it happen.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's like I'm changing colors here and there inside lead pages or ClickFunnels in hopes that it's closest to the logo as possible. But there's not much I can do when you're using a tool like that. It's just made to deploy fast.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But when you start dealing with big clients, I have a couple that are like, I'll give you tens of thousands of dollars a month to run all of my stuff. It's like, okay, well, there's money in here to use to make sure the funnel works. Whereas it's not, let's test first, then fix the funnel. It's let's get the funnel right, and let's spend a little less to make sure it's dialed in, and then once it's dialed in, then we'll ramp up the ads. So it really depends on your budget, but you do with what you can work with, which in lead pages and ClickFunnels, could be very little.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. We have a lot of paper leaders in our group, guys who like to generate leads and just sell each individual lead rather than getting into like monthly retainer fees for their services and stuff, which is cool. It's decent passive income. How viable is it to scale out a really nice PPL business using like Facebook or social media?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because Facebook has a pay-per-call ad type that most people don't use.
Right.
And it's called local awareness ads, which you can build out local sites with an address wherever the address is, right? You just get a UPS box, USPS box, whatever, virtual office. And as long as you can develop a fan page with an address, that local awareness ad is available to you, right?
Okay.
And because that local awareness ad is available, now you have a pay-per-call ad that you can use. And whether you're doing it for clients or, let's say, doing affiliate type of stuff, as long as that ad is available, pay-per-call becomes an option. Now, the reason why I'm saying that's better than, let's say, like a website conversion ad or a clicks to website ad from Facebook, and I'm just using them as an example right now, is because you're adding that extra step to then get the call. Whereas with Facebook, they give you an ad type that's like, click here to call, and it's instantaneous, right? So without having that local address, you add that extra step, which sort of lowers the possibility of getting a call. Doesn't mean it's impossible.
Yeah.
It's just you want the highest probability of getting that phone call. But you can create a business around, Facebook ads turning into phone calls. I have buddies that do it all the time. And it's really just a matter of, are you giving them something on the front end that leads them to having to call you? If you're giving them a site analysis or, in some cases, let's say like local clients, free teeth whitening and whatnot, they leave their email and phone number and all that for the free teeth whitening, and then on the thank you page it says, in order to claim this, please schedule your appointment now. And it's just a click the call button on their computer, which if they're also on a phone, they could just click it and call you, or the phone number is there for them to, put into their phone and then call you. So they have to still claim that offer.
Yeah.
But now that just becomes a conversion problem versus a call thing. It's like, no, you still got to get the conversion on the second step, which is for them to call. YouTube, that works really well. If they're watching something and it's an emergency-based industry, hey, you're experiencing a plumbing problem. Hey, you got a downed tree in your front yard, especially in Florida with hurricanes. It's like tree removal is a big deal. If it's an emergency, having a phone number present in the description, in your annotations, just anywhere on the video, is going to get someone to call you.
Yeah.
They don't have click to call. So you have to just sort of play around and figure out the best placement for people to get your information and call you.
Okay.
It's still doable.
Very cool. I always had a really big interest in YouTube retargeting, YouTube ads. It's on our to-do list. Like we don't have our to-do list to show everyone, but we have a big ass to-do list, and that's one of the things we wanna mess around with. What type of industries have you found work best? I mean, would you say like local service stuff's kind of not right for YouTube's retargeting and advertising, or am I wrong in assuming that? And what type of ROIs do you see with that? Let's just talk more about that.
Yeah, I would say you're wrong for assuming that, because my belief is retargeting is for everything, right? Retargeting is just another layer of data, right? It's how you use that data to get the conversion.
That makes sense.
Right, so retargeting is for anything. I mean, you could be selling the dumbest product on the planet, and people are just going to your site because it's dumb. It doesn't matter. It's data. And now you validated that it's a dumb product because no one's buying, right? So it's just data. So you just want to make sure that with YouTube retargeting, right, you can retarget people who've subscribed, people who've unsubscribed, people who've watched your video, people who've watched it all the way through, people who've disliked your video, people who've liked it, people who've commented. I mean, there's like 15 or 16 ways you can retarget on YouTube. And all you're doing is truly just activating the people into that audience. But it's how you sort of designate what that audience is, right? So for a local business, I'm going to just keep using dentists here. Someone watches a video on veneers and why they're important and why maybe you should get them, right? And you're targeting channels on YouTube talking about dentistry, and they're also talking about veneers, right? You come up as a pre-roll ad, or maybe someone just lands on your video from your site, right? So when they click play, they're put into the audience, the retargeting audience. The only way that you know if that audience is engaged enough to take another step, whether it's call you or let's just say leave an email or something like that, is your call to action getting them to do anything inside the video, right?
Yeah.
So you've sent them back to a new video via retargeting, and the retargeting ad can say, hey, nice to see you again. We noticed that you did not take us up on our free teeth whitening offer. Well, I'd like to give you another one. If you decide to get the free teeth whitening offer, I'd also give you 10% on your first appointment.
Nice.
Click here to go to the next step, or call the number today, right? Call tracking number so you know where they're coming from. Now, if they don't take that step, your stuff's not working. Like, there's, you just got to revamp the campaign, or you're simply just getting the wrong traffic.
Right.
Be honest with yourself here. You know, I could send 50,000 visits to your site, but if no one's converting, the it sucks. Or it's your offer.
Yeah.
You gotta sort of gauge which one it is. In most cases, it's the offer.
What step that leads me to a really I think it's a good question. It might be corny to you, but how do you know? And I find this even with when I do CRO stuff for like my personal websites or client websites, you know, how do you determine if the targeting of the traffic's bad or your offer's bad? What steps would you take to kind of test, like, because if you could just test your offer, maybe before you send traffic to it, then you would just know, you know.
Right.
So
Right.
is there some ways you would test the offer beforehand, or once you come to that fork in the road, how would you determine which issue you're running into, bad targeting and bad traffic, or an offer that just won't never convert?
Well, I'll give you a good example here because I've done this, right? With local, it's a little difficult because let's say if you're doing internet marketing stuff, let's say I wanted you to buy my course, right? I have a great course on Facebook ads. Here's why you should use it, blah, blah, blah. Well, in order for me to validate if people want the course, I could actually just go get a JV. And if someone on a warm list likes my stuff, I could then sort of retool my course to be sold via paid traffic because I got validation that people bought the course. Right? Now with local, JVing is not that easy, you know, and you sort of have to just put the offer out there, whether it's local or national, with small amounts of traffic, small budgets, and just test out, let's just say, 5 or 10 different audiences before you come to the conclusion that maybe my offer's off, right? Now, if you change the offer 2 or 3 more times and you're using the same audiences, and that same audience still doesn't buy, it may be your targeting, right? So at first, I mean, as someone who buys traffic every day, I can get myself a little nuts around this. You know, I'll think, man, I'm buying everything from the right audience, everything's great. We changed the offer 3 times over the course of a month, nothing happens, and then I get in denial. No, there's no way it's not the traffic. It can't be the traffic. But I have to be honest with myself. It could be I'm just targeting the wrong people. But I had to figure that out by testing the offer a couple times first.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
That makes good sense. Thanks for that. Yeah, because that's good even outside of social media ads. Anything, you know, if something's not converting, you have to try to you have to try to work in reverse and say, okay, what's the problem? Is it the people that are seeing the offer or the offer itself? So.
And some people get married to their offer so much that they just get into this really deep denial that it's the traffic, and they just never change the offer. So they just keep trying other types of traffic or other locations or whatever, and no one continues to buy. By then you should be able to figure out, like, hey, maybe it's me. You know, you have to be honest with yourself. If your offer sucks, it doesn't matter if you put 50 hours of work into it. You got to change it.
Right.
It's just the nature of the beast. It's business. So be warned that you can spend a lot of time with something, test it out, and then people just don't like it. It happens all the time. It's advertising, right? Yeah. So test your offer a couple times. If it's not the offer, test a couple different interests or locations or other sources, and if it still doesn't convert, then you sort of have like a catch-22. It's like, okay, maybe I need to revamp everything.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I got for that. I mean, that's that.
Well, that's good stuff, man.
Yeah, absolutely. That clarifies a lot. So, what's your main thing then? Do you have any courses on this stuff, or are you mainly just service based right now? What's your business model look like? Do you accept? I think you said you do accept people wanting to learn from you. Do you have any courses or membership sites or anything like that?
Yeah. So right now, we as in my business partners and I, Gonzalo Paternostri is my mentor. He's also an outsourcing genius, and myself. We're finishing up the first round of other courses coming out. This one will be specific to Facebook ads. The entirety of the course is going to be called Social Ads Revolution, and it's going to incorporate all the different ad platforms that I buy traffic from in the social space. The first course we'll release is on Facebook, so it's going to be the Facebook edition of Social Ads Revolution. It should be out in the next couple weeks, and I'll let you guys know when it's complete. But we're just now getting into the creation phase of the course side of the business. I used to do courses behind the scenes for people, so you'd never see my name on a course being done, but I was the one who did all the training.
Yeah.
And 3 years ago, my first course came out with Ben Adkins called Evil Video Magician. That was the course that I put together, and Ben was more of like the face.
Yeah.
And 3 years later, now it's sort of like I'm getting back into that realm and going to be putting out lots of content over the next couple months into the next year around all these different social networks. So my primary business is the service side, and I do coach individuals and consult companies, but that's on a case-by-case basis because it really depends on time, and it also depends on, after you coach with me, you still have to have a budget to go and execute what I taught you.
Yeah.
So it's a very limited seating, so to speak, as to who comes to me and can go through my training. But all facets of the business is coming together, at least with the product creation side, and I'll have something on that in the next couple of weeks.
That's really cool, man. Like I said, be sure to keep in touch with us about it, and definitely drop the link in for our people. Would be happy to have that, man, for sure.
Absolutely.
But I really appreciate your time coming on today, chatting about some social ads. I apologize I dropped out there for a minute. My internet's going upstairs, and the guy needed me to go help him, and it was just real awkward having him just stand there staring at me while I figured out what to do. I sent Matt a quick message, and I'm like, dude, I'm gonna mute the shit and just run, and then Matt will get the cue to take over when he just doesn't hear me talk anymore.
It's no problem. It's no problem. And I'll throw in this. This just came to me now. I'm really emphasizing that people should be doing video, and it's not because I'm just naturally good on camera. Like, this took me a long time to get used to speaking in front of people. I put myself through a challenge of recording 100 videos in 100 days, and that was sort of my push into being able to record all the time. Like, you want me to knock out 100 videos for a course? Not a problem. I'll put my face on the camera regardless of how I look. It's just what I do. Now, I say that because a lot of people are scared to jump on video. Well, no one said you have to put your face. It could just be your voice. And maybe you don't like how you sound, so go hire someone. But the point is, video ads are working tremendously, and they're also really cheap right now. And the last thing you want to do is miss the boat before everyone else realizes that, hey, I could jump on camera too. GoPros and your phones, how hard is it to record a video? So do it now and utilize Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, so on and so forth, because you get to test for an insanely cheap amount, $5 a day, and get tons of data and create audiences of people who want your stuff. Even if it doesn't convert, it's like you're learning.
Right.
And all it takes is $5 a day. And even if you generated 1 lead a day, at the end of the month, you got 30 people who've never heard of you before on your list.
Yeah, awesome.
And that's it. So just give it a try, take action, and watch what happens.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Good insight. Thanks a lot for dropping the knowledge bombs, man. It's appreciated. I know the group will like it, and it's awesome. Just adding that value, man. I really appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah, no problem. And if anyone, no problem. If anyone wants to reach out to me, I'm Facebook.com. You can just look up my name, David Schloss, and I'll come up.
We'll have to add you to the group, man, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
A little more accessible for people.
Sure, no problem.
And then we'll have our claws in you. Make sure you'll drop the link to your content in there and stuff.
All right, no problem. That works for me.
Thanks a lot, dude.
No problem, guys. Have a good one.
Yeah.